With the Finance Minister announcing revised tax slabs and rebates in Budget 2023, the most common question is what tax regime someone should opt for the financial year 23-24. The tax slabs and the rates that have been announced in the recent budget does not impact the old regime. That being the case, with the proposed changes for the new tax regime, should you go in for the new tax regime or stick on with the old one? Let us see. Welcome to Nana's Learn Better. Use this channel to enrich your knowledge in personal finance to take informed decisions. Do subscribe to the channel if not done already. As already mentioned, our finance minister did not touch the slabs or the rates or the deductions for the old tax regime. What she has done is to announce 4 important changes in the budget 2023 to be effective from financial year 23-24 for the new tax regime. So, what are all the changes to the new tax regime? 1. Enhanced limit of tax rebate under section 87A. That is, for the current financial year 22-23, all residents with a taxable income of up to Rs 5 lakhs are exempted from paying income tax under both the tax regimes. With the budget 2023, this tax rebate limit has been increased to Rs 7 lakhs for the new tax regime. So, if your taxable income is up to Rs 7 lakhs, you need not pay any tax under the new tax regime. However, the rebate limit of Rs 5 lakh remains unchanged for the old tax regime. 2. The income tax slabs have now been rationalized and reduced for the new tax regime. Let's compare the income slabs and the tax rates for financial year 23-24 for the new tax regime with that of the current financial year 22-23. As you can see, earlier there were 7 slabs, now it's only 6. Again, earlier there was 0 tax for income up to Rs 2.5 lakhs. Now with budget 2023, this has been revised upwards to Rs 3 lakhs. The topmost slab remains the same at above 15 lakhs with 30% income tax. So, if your income exceeds the new rebate limit of Rs 7 lakhs, then you will be required to pay the applicable tax as per these slabs and rates under the new tax regime. 3. For the financial year 23-24, even when you opt for the new tax regime, you can avail of 3 deductions. You can now avail a standard deduction of up to Rs 50,000 if you are salaried or a pensioner and a deduction of up to Rs 15,000 if you are drawing family pension. So, with the standard deduction allowed under the new tax regime, even if your taxable salary is say Rs 7.5 lakhs, you will not be required to pay any tax for the financial year 23-24 when you opt for the new tax regime. If your employer is contributing towards your NPS account, then as a salaried employee, you can now claim deduction of that amount to certain percentage under section 80 CCD2 of the Income Tax Act. The maximum amount that can be deducted is different for the private sector and government employees. While a private sector employee can claim a maximum deduction equal to 10% of his salary, a government employee, on the other hand, can claim a maximum of 14% of his salary. The salary here means basic plus DA. Any amount paid or deposited to the Agniveer Corpus Fund under the newly proposed Section 80 CCH of the Income Tax Act can be fully claimed as deduction from the income by the Agniveer. 4th, starting from financial year 23-24, the new tax regime will be the default one. Should you want to change, you can do so by selecting the old regime. Okay, with these changes, should someone opt for new or old tax regime for the financial year 23-24? Let's understand this with some examples. Let's understand how this works out to when the gross salary is say Rs 15 lakhs. Let's also assume that under the old regime, you are fully exploiting the 80C limit of rupees 1.5 lakhs. The deduction under section 80D towards health insurance premium is rupees 25,000. The interest received on savings bank account is rupees 10,000, which would qualify for deduction under section 80TTE. The standard deduction is 50,000. For the financial year 23-24, under the new tax regime, the tax you need to pay will be rupees 1,47,680. This is after considering a standard deduction of rupees 50,000. For the same inputs, for the current financial year, that is 22-23, the income tax will be high at rupees 1,98,120. This is because for the current financial year, there is no deduction allowed under the new tax regime. For this particular example, under the old tax regime, considering a total deduction of rupees 2.35 lakhs, that is 1.5 lakhs under section 80C, 50,000 towards standard deduction, 10,000 towards savings deposit interest, and 25,000 towards section 80D, the income tax payable for financial year 22-23 or 23-24 will be the same at rupees 2,02,800. So, for this example, whether it is financial year 23-24 or 22-23, you will be paying less tax if you opt for new tax regime than the old one. Let's take another example. This time, let's consider that your gross salary income is rupees 7 lakhs. There are no other deductions except the standard deduction of rupees 50,000. Now, if you look at the calculations, in the old regime, you would pay a tax of rupees 44,200 against the new regime in which the tax payable would be rupees 33,800 for the current financial year 22-23 and zero income tax for the next financial year 23-24. The reason for zero tax for financial year 23-24 under the new tax regime is that taxable income up to rupees 7 lakh is exempt from income tax. Okay, is there a simple way of deciding which tax regime one should opt for? Some sort of guidelines? There is no simple way of deciding which tax regime one should opt for. You need to do the calculation because each case could be unique. You may use any of the online income tax calculators for arriving at the tax payable. I have compiled a few scenarios as shown here. As you can see, for the financial year 23-24, you will be better off if you go for new tax regime for the income tax slabs and the respective deductions shown here in the example. However, for the current financial year 22-23, you will see that you will be paying less tax in the new tax regime when your income is rupees 7 or 7.5 lakhs because in the new tax regime, for the income slab rupees 5 to 7.5 lakhs, you pay only 10% tax, but it is 20% for the slab 5 to 10 lakhs in the old tax regime. It may also be interesting to know at what levels of deductions you will be indifferent between the new tax regime and the old one for the next financial year 23-24. For example, for the various income slabs with the indicated deductions including the standard deduction, there is not much to choose between the two tax regimes for the financial year 23-24, as in each of these cases, you will be paying exactly the same amount of tax whether it's the old regime or the new one. However, for all these cases, for the current financial year 22-23, you will save some tax if you opt for old tax regime instead of the new one. So, be ready with your tax planning well in advance so that you do not run into paying higher tax for the next financial year 23-24. See you in another video. Till then, this is Narayanan Viraya from the channel Nanas Learn Better.